Hey everybody, it's Nancy Giuliano back in the Nook, and I'm going to show you the cards that I'm making for the virtual card class this coming Monday, May 11th. The first one is an iris card. The second one is a grid technique using the flowers from the Ornate Style stamp set. The rubber band technique from the Butterfly Gala set. And then back to the Ornate Style stamp set, and this is the reverse masking sponging technique. All right, I'll get started. The first one, the Inspiring Iris card, is made with the pigment ink, the white pigment ink, and I'm going to emboss it first. So, let's see. Not really sure what the technique is called on this, but I'm going to call it colored embossing. So I used the oval set, the oval framelit set, the layering oval framelit set, stamped it with the white embossing ink. And this is a pigment ink, so it stays wet long enough to add the powder. And this is just white embossing powder. I'm using the coffee filters as to catch the extra, and I try to get rid of some of the little specks. I probably should have used the embossing buddy, but I didn't have it with me downstairs. And that is going on that's on the retired list, which I don't know why, but okay. I'm going to pour everything back into the jar. All right, and hit it with the heat gun. I'm just going to hold it with a pencil too. I like to hold my heat gun steady. I see a lot of people who use it, they go like this, but then I kind of lose control of where I've been. So I point it to the image and hold it until I see it turn shiny. And once it's shiny, I get away from that area because then it can start turning kind of like flat and lose its shine. And you don't need to overcook it. And if you have white cardstock, you can actually show some burn marks there if you get carried away. Okay, so once this is dry, which is almost immediately, we're going to use our blends. Our blends are alcohol-based, and I'm going to use the Highland Heather, the Old Olive, and the Daffodil Delight, and those are all the dark ones, just what I happen to pick out. And I like the tip that's a softer tip, and you're just going to color right onto that image, right on top of the white. You don't even have to be that careful of getting it on the black because you won't see it. All right. Always really make sure they click because they are alcohol based. They can dry up. And then I use the yellow, the Daffodil Delight for the insides. I won't do the entire flower. And then the Old Olive on the stems. That's how I got the color, so you can get color on black, which is cool because you're covering up the whole white embossed image. All right, and then as I'll go back to the card, I use the Scripty embossing folder, and you use that just with the blue plate. And then I taped it onto the Highland Heather scalloped edged framelit, and that's in the same set, the layering ovals, and then popped it up on a dimensional dot. And that's how I did that card. Right, the next one is the grid technique, and this is an old technique that I did many, many years ago, and I just love to do this technique. And let me get my card here. So the layers are, the outside of the card is 8.5 8.5 by 11, cut in two. So you get a 4 1/4 by 5.5. The next layer in is 4 by 5 1/4, and then the white piece is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, and again, I didn't put on a saying just so that you can put in your own saying, say what you want in the inside. Whenever you want to send the card, then you can turn it into the type of cards you want. So white piece, I took the big stamp, the larger stamp from the Ornate Style stamp set and the daisy. I just stamped it in the corner, and then I randomly stamped 3 of the smaller daisies, okay? And then I took my ruler and in one direction, the 5-inch, you will get even amounts. You can do any measurement, but I used the inch marks on this particular card. I put it down here you can see that it's 5 inches across, and I made a little tick mark at the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, and then kind of slide it down and do the same thing. Right. This ruler is very old. My husband used it in college, so it's got a little bit sentimental value. I know everyone may think I need a new ruler. Okay, and down again here. Into the 4, the 5, and then you can connect the dots. All right, and you're just going to do a line, and then a line, and this is where you get the grid part. You line it up, and then whenever you draw the line, you jump over the image that you've already stamped. All right, and make sure you get in the little nooks and crannies, because that will make a difference in the long run. I find my marks down here. Doing it on camera, it's not going to be perfect, but you get the idea. All right, and then one more down here. All right, now you're going to do the same thing sideways. You're going to measure going across and then going down. Now this is 3 3/4 inches, so it's not going to be a perfect 1 inch across. You may end up with a small little grid. So what I did was I shifted over my ruler just about 1/8 of an inch, and then started my 1 inch mark, my 2, my 3, and then, all right, then I moved it down again, off a little bit, started 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to connect those going across. And again, you're going to jump over your image. All right. Okay, so now we'll go back to see how you see how the grids are forming. Go back to the card, and then I went over with my marker. I just found it was easier. I could correct it if I made any mistakes with the pencil, and then go over with your marker. And then I colored in the images. I just used the Daffodil Delight and the Olive just to color in, and I believe I used the Coral on this one. Soft suede in the center, and if you can see that I used our fine tip glue, and then I just colored in the center with the glue and let it dry, and then randomly picked squares. Just whatever I felt like doing at the time, I colored them in with the lighter of the markers to get that the same colors but a little bit lighter in. Just a fun card to do. Okay, now the next card I'm going to show you is the Happy Birthday card. Again, this is with the Butterfly Gala, and it has a matching, this is on the retired list, and it has a matching punch. I just stamped out the images in black, the outline images in black, and then it's a 2-step stamping, so I use this into the Blushing Bride and the Highland Heather ink pads, and then I punched them out. But I'm going to show you the technique, which is the background here. Okay, this is a really fun technique. All right, so what I did was I took the cardstock and put it down on my grid. You don't have to do it on the grid, but it sure makes life easier. And then I took some pieces of computer paper and 2 squares over up here and 2 squares over. So now you know it's straight. And I just kind of picked it up like this, put a little bit of tape on here so I know you could do it with oversized sticky notes too, but I didn't have any of those. So I just put that down there, and then I counted, made sure my bottom cardstock is straight. I counted over 6 squares, and then put this underneath, stuck it down, this underneath, stuck it down. Okay, so now I took an acrylic block. I wrapped it around with rubber bands. No rhyme or reason, just wrapped it around and inked it up, and then pressed down, turned it, pressed down, go back in the ink like this, okay? And then the other one, then I flipped it over, didn't even have to use another block, it's all set to go, and I used the Blushing Bride, and again, like random, back in, random, back in, all right? And then I took my sponge, after I loaded it up, into the Blushing Bride and sponged it. So once you do that, and I just kind of held it down. if you have temporary tape, you may want to put the bottom cardstock affixed to the graph paper if you want, the grid paper if you want, but I'm a rebel, so I didn't. All right, so that's how I did, and then you just pick up the scraps of paper here, and there you go. I didn't do it as dark there, but you get the idea. There's your strip there. Okay, last card. The last card is this card, and I use the reverse masking sponging technique. So in order to do this card, you're going to just have a base of cardstock that you cut in half and fold. Then you take 2 pieces of cardstock. They are 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And then the top piece is going to be your template. I used the layering ovals. I centered it and I cut it out through the Big Shot. So here's your template. Take that second piece that's exactly the same size. You can, if you have temporary tape, you can use it, but I did not. And now I'm going to use 2 different colors here. I'm going to use the pineapple and just sponge in. I'm going to hold it tight because I don't have it taped down. Sponge in here. All right, now I'm going to switch over to the Mango Melody. Hold it again. And you can use any color combination you'd like. But for this card, I just picked these because I thought it was kind of cheery. Go back in and as dark as you want it. All right. Now you have the card that you're ready to stamp on. I'm using the larger flower again from the Ornate style stamp set. Ink it up in black and kind of come off the paper like this, stamp down. And there's your image, okay? It's coming together. Now I'm going to take the Big Shot. I'm going to, hopefully that's on camera, but you'll see it when it's done. And then the smaller, the next size down, or that was for the large one. Okay, let me get the one. My smaller piece. Am I an amateur or what? Okay, here's the smaller piece. I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to run it through the Big Shot. Now you have 2 pieces here. Base of cardstock. The top piece, you're going to flip over and you're going to put dimensionals on. So I put them in the corners. Move it up a little bit so you can see. And I put it down the sides as well. All right. Peel them off. I'm not going to do that. Put it on your card. And then this piece, you're going to put tape on. And after this is stabilized, go right through the center, match it up, and press down. And then you can kind of lift it a little bit. And then you have, that's how you have the pop to the card. So I'll go back to the finished card. You see it's popped up. I added some rhinestones. I added a saying. And there you have it, your reverse masking sponging technique. All right, so those are the 4 cards. There's the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. All right, so these are for Monday. Like I said, May 11th, and if any of you use any of these techniques on a card and send me a picture of them, on your next order, you'll get free shipping. How about that? I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you enjoyed the cards. Bye-bye.